All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. Huge news day. Of course, we're covering this Ukraine scandal, the transcripts, or so-called transcripts that were released, and we're taking your phone calls on this. Michael Avenatti will be coming up in hour number 2 to discuss this with you all, and I know he's got a lot to say about this. The number to call, by the way, if you want to be a part of the program, 257-5396. So here's what I'm going to do for you right now. I'm going to give you two different sides, but they're both Republicans. We have two Republicans, one who ran for president of the United States, and, of course, Lindsey Graham, who's still out there, still a politician. So two different opinions, but yet two Republicans. I'm going to start with Lindsey Graham. This was moments ago. This is what Lindsey Graham has to say about these so-called transcripts that were released.
From my point of view, to impeach any president over a phone call like this would be insane.
But why underwhelming? In that transcript, he says favor. He asked him to work with the Attorney General Barr going forward on looking into getting dirt about Joe Biden.
I hope we will look at the corruption problem in the Ukraine. And I think the president pointed out in the firing of the prosecutor, maybe he deserved to be fired. Maybe he was corrupt. I don't know. But an obvious conflict of interest.
Well, there you go. Lindsey Graham thinks there's nothing wrong, and he actually applauds Donald Trump. Now let's hear the other side of it. Mitt Romney, a man who ran for president, almost won, almost beat Barack Obama. This was just a few moments ago. This is what Mitt Romney had to say.
I don't know that I've focused so much on the quid pro quo element as perhaps some do. There's just the question of, and I said this in my first reaction, which is if the President of the United States asks or presses the leader of a foreign country to carry out an investigation of a political nature, that's troubling. And I feel that. And so clearly if there were a quid pro quo, that would take it to an entirely more extreme level.
Exactly.
You agree?
If it was a transaction, it would take it to a more extreme level.
Well, let's find out.
Asking a favor in return for apparently nothing, I don't have a huge issue with. And he said troubling. Does troubling translate to impeachable? I'm not sure that it does. And is it a surprise? Romney has been on the other side of Trump for quite some time, and Graham has been on Trump's side. So again, both of these opinions don't surprise me one bit.
But I think Mitt Romney's is a more logical and fair approach. I think Lindsey Graham's is not logical and not fair.
And I'm not disagreeing with that. But if this prosecutor was corrupt, then he should have been removed.
Don't know if that's true.
We don't know if that's true. And what Trump is trying to do is find out if that is
convenient.
True.
How convenient. He's so interested. He's so interested in the Bidens.
Obviously,
how convenient.
Obviously, it's very convenient.
Yeah, very convenient.
I'm not suggesting that it's not.
He's not going after Pete Buttigieg. He's not going after Beto O'Rourke. No, he's going after Joe Biden. We all agree. Very convenient. All right, I promised we would take some more phone calls because the phone lines are jammed. We do have one line that's open if you want to give us a buzz on this. 257-5396, 702-257-5396. Let's go to Malik. Malik, thanks for waiting on hold. What's on your mind?
Hey, what's up, Malik?
Yeah. Hey, fellas. Hey, listen, JD, man, you're a cool, smooth dude to be supporting a nut job like this. It's so obvious. He does it right in your face. And the thing is, like, if you research this thing about Biden and you read about it, it was all legit. It was not only Biden, it was multiple countries. It was multiple countries, Germany, they all were basically saying that this corrupt prosecutor back in 2013 had to be removed, period. Now, why this president goes on the phone and talks to him, the new Ukrainian president.
Yeah.
He thinks he's a mafia guy. He thinks he's mafia.
Malik, I agree with that. I agree with that word. I agree. Let's let JD.
I get it. It's a standard conversation with the president of a different country. I don't have an issue with him asking to look into it. Now, if there was some type of transaction attached to it, if he didn't get what he wanted, or if he asked him to manufacture information that he could use, that would be something totally different. But asking the one question, I don't have an issue with that.
No, he did. The reason behind the question, what his motives were, he didn't want to release the defense money, the $250 billion.
Exactly.
That's why he held it up.
Exactly. Malik, if you're not biased, and clearly you're not, all you have to do is connect the dots. Clearly you have connected the dots here, and I appreciate the call, Malik. I agree with you 100%. It's so obvious if you just look at what's going on here. With the money a few days before, with the money a few days after, all of a sudden he's talking about Joe Biden. 257-5396.
And the Department of Justice did say that there was not enough.
No, Bill Barr is the one that said that. Bill Barr is the one that said,
who is the Department of Justice, who is the Attorney General.
And Bill Barr also said there was no, obstruction, right? But yet there were 10 examples of obstruction in the Mueller report. That's the same guy. So I don't believe one word he says. 257-5396. Let's go to Kevin. Kevin, what's up?
What's up, Kevin?
Yeah, I guess I think his young name is JD, the Republican. Look, boss, I mean, I understand that you got to stand with him, but even if he would have did a quick pro quo, you still would be in his corner. You guys are going to flout the rule of law until it's just there's nothing left. You guys have to. Can't keep on thinking we can sit here and keep taking this.
No, if a quid pro quo could be proven, I would not be on Donald Trump's side. If it could be proven, I don't think that it can be in this situation.
But there's clearly a violation.
Just like obstruction of justice couldn't be proven.
Go ahead, Kevin.
Yeah, it's clearly a violation of ethics laws with him asking for a favor and holding back the money. If he would have said, no, we can't open up the investigation, they wouldn't have gotten.
Hey, Kevin.
Never gotten the money.
Hey, Kevin, I agree with you. Isn't it interesting that Bill Clinton asked for a sexual favor for Monica Lewinsky and Republicans go nuts, but then when Donald Trump puts America second and him first and tries to go after his political opponent, that's okay. All of a sudden, Lindsey Graham says that's okay. But God forbid, if Bill Clinton cheats on his wife, all hell breaks loose if he lies about that. But, hey, this is fine. Don't you find that convenient, Kevin?
Very convenient.
Yeah.
You hit me on the head with that one.
All right. Thanks, Kevin.
Thanks for the call, Kevin.
I appreciate the call. 257-5396 is the number to call, and I believe the next person we have on the line here is Bruce. Bruce, what's up?
Hey, Bruce.
Hey, Brian. Thanks for the call. I've called you before, and I'm not a guy who choose my rights twice, but I always have to go back to, I just wish these guys would kind of quit bickering amongst each other and get the business of the country done. I'm not opposed to trying to figure out something that's been done that shouldn't be done as far as this call and influence and things like that. But I'm independent. I think you claim that also. I'd just like your opinion on something real quick.
Okay.
Why does the fact that his son got hired by this gas company and had some kind of six-figure income coming in and had exactly no experience in that field, why does that get lost in the conversation?
Well, here's the problem, Bruce. It's a valid question, but here's my issue with that. This has already been investigated. The investigation is over with. It would be like somebody from another country calling Joe Biden and saying, hey, Joe, if you're president, give us aid, but I'll tell you what we'll do for you right now. We're going to try to reopen this investigation and the Mueller report. It would be inappropriate, right? It would be wrong because the investigation already happened. Ukraine already investigated all this stuff. They found that there was no wrongdoing. So why reopen it?
I'm not saying you're wrong, Brian, but what I am saying is, as well as I do, that their system of justice in Ukraine.
Absolutely.
Think about it. You're a really smart guy, bro.
Absolutely.
You're basically a puppet of Russia. They're going to say whatever fits their bill. And you can't.
I agree, Bruce.
I'm an electrician, and I'm going to hire Brian Shapiro.
Yeah.
He doesn't even know what a 12-gauge wire is. I'm going to pay him more than a journeyman that's been working for me for 20 years.
That's true, actually.
It just stinks to high heaven, Brian.
Well, Bruce, you're right, and I'll be logical with you here. And by the way, thank you for the phone call. There's corruption everywhere in politics, sadly, but it has to start with the president of the United States. It has to.
But a guy who's been looked into more than probably anyone in the last 50 years, looking into somebody else, I don't have a huge issue with, considering what he's had to go through himself. And again, he's not asking for anything in return for it. There may be some type of implication attached to it. And clearly, and I'm not denying this, clearly he understands the law, and so do his attorneys, better than anybody in a long time. And they have been skirting around it. They know what they can do with the law without getting caught.
I understand.
Because of how the law is written. They get that, and I understand that. But again, this guy has been looked into more than anyone out of the last 10 to 12 United States presidents.
And you don't put any responsibility of that on him?
Well, I didn't suggest that.
Well, you're making it sound like he's a victim. He's not a victim.
But he's looking into Joe Biden for something that he should probably be looking into.
It's not the president's. That's not his job to do that.
And he's not asking for them to create some type of false evidence. He is saying, just look into this. I want to know what took place.
What about all the corruption in his own administration? He never did he really care about that? How about the people that are in jail right now? How about his own attorney? You want to talk about corruption, but all of a sudden he wants to take the high road and said, I really care about corruption. I really care about politicians, corrupting our politics in this country. All of a sudden he wants to go after Joe Biden. Oh yeah, and by the way, this is the guy that's probably going to go up against me in 2020. Come on, we got to connect the dots here, JD. 257-5396. Let's go to JD. Let's go to another JD. What's going on?
What's up, JD?
JD, I have a question for you.
I got an answer.
Have you not seen and heard the audio and video of Vice President Biden admitting and bragging that he told the president of the Ukraine, if you don't fire this prosecutor before I leave in 6 hours, you are not getting the $1 billion I have in aid?
You're asking me or asking Brian?
There's a reason why he's asking you, because there's a reason why he's asking you, because he doesn't want to get into a debate with me. Go ahead, JD.
I'll debate you anytime, any place.
Okay, it's fine. So let's debate it right now. It was investigated. It doesn't matter what he said in public. It matters what he says in private with members of the Ukraine. JD, it was investigated. They found that there was no. Keep laughing. They found that there was no wrongdoing. How do you like to respond to that?
He has stated on
It doesn't
camera
matter what he stated on camera. It was investigated by the Ukrainians. What part of that do you not understand?
What you're accusing Trump of doing.
I'm going to repeat it one more time because clearly you have a lot of stuff in your ears. It was investigated by the Ukrainians. If Donald Trump said this in public, that he wanted the Ukrainians to investigate Joe Biden, it wouldn't be an impeachable offense. Do you know why it's an impeachable offense? Because he spoke to the president of Ukraine. If Joe Biden, excuse me, let me finish. If Joe Biden in private had a conversation with members of the Ukrainians and said, listen, if I'm president, I'm going to offer you blah, 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 if you go after Donald Trump, or if you drop this investigation, that would have been the same offense. Going on a stage in public and saying something and then speaking in private with the president of the United States are two completely different things. And you're not even worth having a debate on this. You're not even worth it, JD, because you're so biased. 257-5396 is the number to call. Hey, let me ask JD a question, really, because I don't want to get into a debate with Brian, because Brian will destroy you.
Or because he wanted to ask me a question, Brian. Stop making it about you.
No.
He wanted to ask me a question.
Why is he going to ask you that?
And I didn't even get a chance to answer it. In fact, you decided to turn it into
go ahead.
the Brian situation.
Answer it.
And then you attacked him.
Answer it. Go ahead.
Brian and JD, yes, I have seen that tape.
Okay, so what do you think of the tape?
There's clearly something to it.
Do you not see that? What do you mean there's clearly something to it?
Joe Biden admitted to committing a crime himself.
But it was investigated.
By who?
By the Ukrainians.
Okay.
They had a prosecutor that investigated. What do you mean by who? The Ukrainians investigated it. There was a prosecutor that investigated it. No response? I'm just answering your question now. It was investigated.
By the Ukrainians.
Yes. If there is a public...
It was thoroughly investigated by the Ukrainians.
The investigation has been closed. Just like the Mueller report, it's closed.
And you don't think that it should be reopened?
Absolutely not. Do you think the Mueller report should be reopened?
If there's something to it, absolutely, yes. But there clearly was nothing to it.
And why do you think there's something to this Joe Biden thing, even though it was investigated? Why do you say that there's nothing to the Mueller report, but there's something to Joe Biden?
Joe Biden said this prosecutor must be fired in 6 days, or something's going to happen. What is that? That prosecutor wasn't fired. That is quid pro quo to a T. The exact same thing that you're trying to accuse Donald Trump of doing.
Absolutely not.
By quote unquote connecting the dots.
Because this was a public statement that Joe Biden made. It wasn't a private conversation with leaders of the Ukraine. What Donald Trump did as the president of the United States was talking with the president in a private conversation.
And in that private conversation with the president of Ukraine, at any point did he say reopen the investigation?
Yes.
No, he didn't.
He said he wants the investigation to be opened and looked into.
He said he wanted a favor. He wanted to see what took place because he thought it was very horrible, very bad.
Exactly.
His standard
vernacular. He said he wanted it to be investigated. What does that mean? It means he wants it to be reopened. I mean, we're speaking in layman's terms here. I mean, what are we doing here? That's what he asked for. He asked for the investigation to be reopened. Did he not? Am I wrong? I'm just
he asked for it to be looked into.
What does that mean?
As a favor to him. Again, this guy has been looked into by everybody.
What does that mean? He wanted it to be looked into. What does that mean?
Not just in media, but all levels of government for the last 2 years. And now he wants to look into Joe Biden, who may have been involved in some pretty serious wrongdoing to protect his family.
Which was investigated. And proved
to help his family.
Which was investigated and proved that he did not.
And maybe he feels that the investigation wasn't thorough enough.
So just like
everybody else feels about the investigations into Donald Trump and his doings weren't thorough enough.
I'm not talking about anything in the past. I'm talking about right now.
And again, that being said, I have no issue with him asking these questions, but he better be prepared to offer up the same information about his dealings, his financial dealings with Russia and the Ukraine himself, whatever those things may be.
It's not going to happen though.
But if he's asking that question, if he really wants that information,
it's not going to happen.
He better be prepared to release the exact same thing.
It's not about being prepared. He just won't do it though. I agree with you, but he's not going to do it. All right, phone lines are full. We got to take some calls here. Let's go to Lewis. Lewis, what's going on?
What's up, Lewis?
Hey guys, my nothing burger with cheese this time. I really like it. So let's review, just from my standpoint. Infested is a racist term. Asking a favor is treasonous. I don't know what. I don't know what else.
The guy basically can't talk. Whatever he says can be spun into something horribly negative every time.
You guys are completely not stating the facts.
He's constantly in a lose-lose-lose. What's up?
JD, I would like to talk to you, JD.
What's up?
Okay.
Shocker.
They're afraid. Get triggered, and then he could.
Yeah, they're afraid. They're afraid to talk to me.
It's funny because about 95% of the callers talk to Brian every single day, but now I'm getting a couple, and he's getting angry about it.
No, I'm not angry. They're just cowards.
I want his veins to just explode.
Yeah, because you don't want to talk to somebody that's going to give you facts. That's why I understand,
JD,
Lewis.
I'm trying to talk to you, JD.
Yeah, I know.
Ask you a question.
Let's listen to this fluffer conversation.
What's up, Lewis?
Yeah, so I don't know what these people want. It doesn't matter.
You don't know what else.
Look at what's going on.
Wow, what a fascinating call. Wow, so fascinating.
And JD, you are aware that the New York Times did a big piece on this back in 2017, and the investigation wasn't just concluded by the Ukrainians. Menendez was involved, and two other Democrats, and this investigation into Biden just abruptly stopped.
Oh, my God.
That, for some reason, gets overlooked.
Uh-huh.
Why do you think that is?
You're asking Of course, you're asking JD.
I'm asking a rational person.
He's asking someone with some reason and some logic.
Right,
someone who isn't biased against Donald Trump.
Because you're so rational.
Someone who has the best interests of the United States government.
Right, Lewis, because you're so rational.
And the citizens of the United States
I don't yell like
at mind.
Well, because I
don't hang my hat on the fact that I got a show and I'm a little dictator hanging up.
I'm a little dictator.
JD, I'd like to hear your thoughts.
Okay, make no mistake about it, Lewis. Okay, I am dictator Brian Shapiro, and I'm going to hang up on you because I'm dictator. Dictator Brian Shapiro is hanging up on the moron Lewis. How do you like that, Lewis? I'm the dictator.
Anyways, Lewis. Clearly, there was something that they wanted to keep away from the public about Biden. The same thing that Brian is accusing everyone to do with Trump. Obviously, the same thing was taking place with that investigation that was abruptly stopped with a couple of high-ranking Democrats involved. And Brian, now what if the U.S. government wanted to get involved in the investigation? Would you have a problem with that?
I'm more interested in Lewis
because the investigation was a Ukrainian investigation, and a couple of Democrats got involved to stop it. Now, what if the U.S. government wanted to get involved?
We will ask.
What if they wanted to reopen the investigation?
Let's save that question to Michael Avenatti.
Would you be okay with that though?
Yeah, I would be okay with that as long as that had nothing to do with Donald Trump. But as far as me being the dictator, I think Lewis should go to jail for the rest of his life. Since I'm dictator and punished and tortured the rest of his life. It's dictator Brian Shapiro. Let's go to Michael. Michael, what's going on?
What's up, Michael?
How you doing, guys? JD, I'm in your corner. Brian, I just don't understand. You admitted that both parties do this. What's the big deal?
What's the big deal? Can I respond to that? What's the big deal? I'll gladly respond to that. The big deal is we have the president of the United States who is asking for dirt from the Ukrainian government and holding financial aid, okay? Holding aid a couple days before this.
Finally delivered?
Hold on, let me finish. couple days before the conversation, and then after the conversation, the aid is given to them. Okay? Now, the problem is he's asking for dirt, how convenient, on the man who is most likely his opponent in the 2020 election. This isn't just any Democrat, make no mistake about it. This is Joe Biden, the man who is going to be running against Donald Trump for the president of the United States. That is why this is a big deal. And if you don't think it is, then I have a problem with that.
Okay, then what's the difference with that? Yes, it's an ethics violation, you could say.
At minimum.
But what about with the FISA report and all this digging up dirt with Trump when he was gone?
The problem is you're doing whataboutism. I am focusing on this specific situation, Michael. I'm not going to comment on what has transpired over the last 5, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. I am focusing on this story and why I have a problem with people that think this is, quote unquote, a nothing burger. 257-5396. Kevin, you're next. What's up?
Hey, I just wanted to make a comment real quick.
Sure.
What's up, Kevin?
It's kind of sad that the bar is so low because he didn't explicitly ask for money that they don't consider it.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you.
No, Kevin, that's just how the law is written.
The only thing missing is if Trump were to be on the phone and say, hey, you got a beautiful country here. It'd be horrible for something to happen to it. I mean, if that happened, if the FBI was listening to somebody, they would bring charges against them.
Kevin, that is such a good point, and I promise you I'm going to bring that up with Michael Avenatti coming up here in just a few minutes. 257-5396. Our next caller, I believe, would be, who is it, Johnny? I don't know who the next caller is. It is Al. Al, what's going on?
Hey, guys. How are you? Good morning.
What's up, Al?
Hey, so I just have, and bear with me, two things. One, I'd like to ask you, what do you, this is all really theater, because at the end of the day,
no, it's not.
The
There's no
Republican
actors.
Senate,
It's theatrics.
the Republican Senate is not going to convict Donald Trump. So this is really ultimately going nowhere.
You don't know that. You don't know that. Let me respond to that, Al. If the whistleblower, first of all, what you're looking at right here, Al, could be, I said could be, grounds for impeachment. Now, the whistleblower is going to testify most likely, and he's going to talk in front of the Intel Committee. If there are several other instances of this, then, and I'm up against a hard break, Al, I apologize. I have to let you go. But the problem here is that we have a lot more that we are going to learn about this. Okay? Now, I have to take a break. We're up against a hard break. When we come back, Michael Avenatti will be joining us. I have a lot of people on hold. Carl, Linda, Mark, Al, Andre, Mike. All of you will be able to go on with Michael Avenatti if you're patient, if you wait on hold. We got to take a break.
We have to talk about the word dirt.
All right, well, we have to take a break. I know we have to do that. Take a quick break. Be back right after this. You're listening to The Vegas Tape.